I gotta be real honest, I'm struggling with all of the news around Donald Trump and Bibi Netanyahu's war of aggression against Iran. Part of that is because I've been consuming an awful lot of content, reading, watching videos about not just what's happening right now, but also connecting it to the war on terror, the war in Iraq and in Afghanistan, and also connecting it to all of the things that Israel, with the support of the United States government, has done in Gaza. Also looking at what our government is doing with the embargo in Cuba, going back all the way to 1993 in Mogadishu, right? It's very difficult to look at the war in Iran and not want to examine all of the war machine, examine all of the American military-industrial complex and the way that it's all about corporate greed. It's all about profit. I think for me as an anti-capitalist, and I really would prefer to use the term post-capitalist because I want to envision a post-capitalist world and help us work to get there, right? But for today, my position is anti-capitalist because I'm looking at the past actions of our government and the way that those have been done all for the sake of profit, right? Look at the war in Iraq.
I wore the uniform and I don't even believe in the fucking wars I fought for because I think those were a lie. I know damn well Iraq was a fucking lie. That was a ploy to get KPR into fucking Iraq because Dick Cheney.
I agree
That's
with
what
you.
that shit was.
I started my career.
Fucking spent a long time there. Every fucking logistics piece in the country was KBR, Halliburton, KBR, Halliburton, everything. Food, like the shitters, the gasoline, every piece of logistics there was KBR. Did we find WMDs? Fuck no. That war was bullshit, and everybody fucking knows it.
What a world we live in that I find myself agreeing with Sean Ryan more and more. Maybe he's agreeing with me more and more. And I guess maybe one of the things about Donald Trump being so bad at doing a fascism is that it's all really out front on the surface. It's really overt now, right? There's no guise of patriotism. It's just shameless, brazen. I was going to say clumsy, but then that line from How to Be Playing on the Jukebox came into my head. Brute force, one mind, full of money. That's a more apt description, right? There's no way to make it seem like this war is anything other than Trump trying to deflect from the Epstein files, trying to manufacture a crisis so that he can have some feeble and doomed to fail attempt to seize control of our elections. And it's also about, profiting off of the murder of innocent people. Both our sons and daughters in service and civilians abroad, and maybe even civilians here at home, because what does the war machine do? What does the American industrial complex do? It creates terrorists abroad by destabilizing governments and killing civilians, robbing people of any attempt to have a prosperous and stable future, killing their children, their wives, their siblings, their parents. Convenient then, right, that the war machine makes our own enemies. It profits off of manufacturing, creating our own enemies, so then we have an endless cycle of war where these corporations need really fat government contracts, billions and billions and billions of our taxpayer dollars.
I'm not worried about the war. Not any of the wars. They're calling it the end of the world, but they're calling it Armageddon. Well, I'm not worried, and I'll tell you why. You want to know why? Because I'm going to get in that money.
When this regime goes down, we're going to make a ton of money.
I'm going to get in that money.
Gaza's waterfront property.
It could be very valuable.
I'm going to get in that money.
From Israel's perspective, I would do my best to move the people out.
I'm going to get in that money.
And then clean it up.
It's the master plan.
I'm going to get in that money.
Well, there were plans already.
Been working on master plans for the last 2 years.
Money.
Gaza, as President Trump's been saying,
has amazing potential.
I'm going to get in that money.
What people call conflicts of interest, Steve and I call
experience and trusted relationships.
I'm going to get in that money.
I want to let you know that the United States is going to make a contribution of $10 billion to the Board of Peace.
There, I'm going to get in that money.
We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in.
I'm going to get in that money.
More opportunities than not, Mr. President. With 300 billion barrels of reserves and resources in country, there are lots of opportunities for many companies.
Well, I think you're going to make an investment, but you're going to get your money back very quickly. And that's part of our thing. We're going to have you get your money back fast.
Oil that has been seized, 1.9 million barrels of oil on December 10th.
We're going to keep it. We're keeping the ships also.
I'm going to get in that money.
A few government insiders are making massive profits by betting on
war. They use an online gambling account called Polymarket. Here, an account called MAGA My Man placed a bet on exactly when the U.S. would strike Iran. That account turned an $87,000 bet into over $500,000 by placing their wager exactly 71 minutes before the first missile struck. At least 6 other Polymarket accounts profited over $1.2 million by betting that the U.S. would strike Iran on February 28th. These accounts placed their bets within hours or even minutes of the strikes. They had little or no prior betting history, which means the timing of this war was the one bet they knew they could win.
I'm getting that money.
Suspected IDF insider. He has a 100% win rate on 4 bets. All 4 bets are on Israeli military operations.
There's this live map that tracks the front lines of the war in Ukraine. And on November 15th, it was edited to show a big Russian advance on the city of Mirhanad. It coincided with the resolution of a bet on Polymarket. Someone at ISW edited the map to show that Russia had advanced to the intersection and taken control of it. After the march resolved the...
And I do think with this war, like, Donald Trump cannot manufacture any pretext for what he's doing. So it's just so obvious to everybody that it does give me some hope that people will drop their blind patriotism for the United States, that people will deconstruct from their adoration of the United States military and realize that the military uses and abuses our sons and daughters in order to secure the profit of corporations. That's what they exist for. Not so much our own security, because they're manufacturing problems abroad so that they have an excuse to spend billions and billions of taxpayer dollars and keep us really loyal to that whole system, right? Obviously, why am I preaching to y'all about how the war machine works? You know, you understand. And one of the stories that I think we have to make sure stays at the forefront of this conversation is the bombing of this school. Now, there have actually been multiple schools that have been bombed. Initially, Israel was blamed for this bombing, where 158 little girls and 15 teachers were killed. Which, you know, like, I understand why. This was a joint attack against Iran by the United States and Israel has a long history of bombing schools and hospitals, murdering children. That's what they're really good at. So I understand why that would be the initial claim, but then we got more and more information, and it became pretty clear that it was actually our military that did it.
Did the United States bomb a girls' elementary school in southern Iran on the first day of the war and kill 175 people?
Based on what I've seen, that was done by Iran.
Is that true, Mr. Hegseth?
Pete Hegseth won't talk to that.
Certainly investigating.
Still investigating.
But the only side that targets civilians is Iran.
Bullshit. Israel.
We think it was done by Iran.
Trump, this is a very clear and undeniable evidence of your genocidal attack on this girls' elementary school in the Minop city. Stop playing innocent and don't think people of the world are stupid. We as journalists and documentary filmmakers are here to document the evidence of your genocidal attacks here on this girls and boys elementary school in Minop city.
Bullshit, Pete Kegsbreath. Bullshit. Both the United States military and the Israeli IOF have routinely attacked civilians, especially children, in our military actions, right? And in the genocide in Gaza, like, fuck off. This is the man, this Fox News host, day drunk Fox News host, whose, relatives have said that he sexually assaults women. This is the man who is in charge of our military, a man who is obsessed with his own fragile masculinity. I know it's how a kakistocracy works. I know it's the least qualified people who are in charge. Pete Kegsbreath is there because he's loyal to Donald Trump, not because he knows what he's doing.
New evidence suggests that the U.S. military may have been responsible for a strike on a girls' elementary school in Iran. Iranian officials say at least 168 children and 14 teachers were killed. We have not independently verified those numbers. Trump was asked about it. He said he thinks Iran did it. What do you know as a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee? And if it was the U.S., do you think there should be accountability? And do you trust Secretary Hegseth to bring about that accountability?
I think it is likely the United States that carried out this attack on this school. I think it's unforgivable under any circumstances, but the fact that this was one of our first targeting decisions, that this mistake was made on the first day of war, I think speaks to the incompetence of our leadership at the Department of Defense. There's also some reporting in the last 48 hours that we hit a desalinization plant. That may be an intentional strike. If we're hitting girls' schools by mistake and trying to separate the ability of the Iranian people to get clean water, that's a war ultimately that's going to give rise to a broader Shia militancy against the United States. It was our attacks on civilians, some intentional, some unintentional, inside Afghanistan that ended up giving rise to giving a second chance to the Taliban.
Do you think the strike against the girls' school is a war crime?
Well, I think if it's a mistake, it's very different than an intentional strike. So there are undoubtedly mistakes that are made in war. I trust that this was a mistake, but the fact that it was a mistake made on the first day, I just think speaks to the fact that we don't have serious people right now making decisions at the White House.
And what Senator Murphy said about it being a mistake on day one, it may well be a mistake, but that's because incompetence is weaponized for the furtherance of the goals of the regime. But I would not put it past these guys to have done it on purpose. There's no reason they have no line. There's no line. So when Donald Trump was asked about this again today, I'm going to show you this clip in a second, but as you're watching, I don't know the name of this journalist. I haven't dug it up yet, but whoever they are, this is actually somebody doing real journalism, which is rare in the press corps right now.
That Iran somehow got its hands on a tomahawk and bombed its own elementary school on the first day of the war. But you're the only person in your government saying this. Even your defense secretary wouldn't say that when he was asked, standing over your shoulder on your plane on Saturday. Why are you the only person saying this?
Because I just don't know enough about it. I think it's something that I was told is under investigation, but tomahawks are used by others, as you know. Numerous other nations have tomahawks. They buy them from us. But I will certainly, whatever the report shows, I'm willing to live with that.
You're willing to live with the United States military having killed 150-something little girls? Yeah, okay. Of course he is, because it's accomplishing his goals of distracting from the Epstein files, which is why we must continue to talk about it. It's accomplishing his goals of trying to create an environment where he can, either through a false flag or from retaliation from Iran, have a crisis here in the United States where he can say, I'm going to seize control of elections, which he can't do and we cannot let him do. That's illegal on a state and federal level, and we cannot tolerate it. But also because his buddies, his billionaire Epstein-class buddies, are making bank off of this. It's all about the grift. It's all about the graft. It's all about unbridled capitalism. There is no amount of suffering and death, exploitation and harm they will not commit in the name of profit. The future of this country has got to include dismantling the billionaires' control over our society.